Today, we are diving into the captivating world of microbial biofilms. Join us as we explore their meaning, historical significance, examples in nature, cultivation processes, and their various applications. I am Shanlin.
And I'm Caitlin. Let's engage with our fellow citizens and unveil the wonders of microbial biofilms.
So, hi Caitlin, have you heard of the term microbial biofilms?
Microbial biofilms? I'm not quite sure. Could you explain more?
Absolutely. Microbial biofilm refers to a slimy layer formed by a community of tiny organisms like bacteria or fungi that stick together on surfaces. It's like a sticky coating they create to protect themselves and live together in a structured community.
I think I get it now. So it's like a community of microorganisms living in a slimy coating on surfaces.
Exactly. These biofilms can be found in various places, both in nature and man-made environments. They can be on rocks, teeth, or even on medical implants. And because of their protective slimy layer, they can be quite tough and resistant to things like antibiotics and the body's immune system.
That's interesting. So biofilms can cause problems like infections or clogging, right?
Absolutely. Since biofilms are resistant to treatment, they can lead to infections or even blockage in things like pipes or medical devices.
I never knew how complex microorganisms can be. How about let's find someone and ask them more about microbial biofilms?
Okay, let's go.
Hi, are you free?
Yes,
What's your name?
my name is Chehan.
Can we ask you a question on microbial biofilms?
Sure, why not?
So when I talk about the history of microbial biofilms, what comes to your mind?
So when I think about history of microbiofilm, so yeah, imagine the discovery of dental plague, which then in ancient times people will actually notice there is this slimy layer, and then it's quickly noticed that it was full of microorganism, which then lead us to understand that microbiofilm exists in various environmental places as well.
Alright, Chenhan, dental plaque is a perfect example of natural occurring microbial biofilms.
So after learning a lot about the history of microbial biofilms, let's find someone else to learn more about this topic, shall we? Hi. Are you busy right now? No. Do you know anything about microbial biofilms?
Yeah,
Can you provide us some examples on the naturally occurring microbial biofilms?
yeah, sure, no problem. So first, there is dental plaques, which is a complex biofilms that may grow on the surface of the teeth. So then it's basically a sticky substance on top of the tooth, which produces acid and may lead to tooth decay. So it's basically made of a bacteria known as Staphylococcus, leftover food particles plus saliva. So these components may lead to cryogenic biofilms, which will then lead to chronic diseases known as dental caries.
I see. I better start brushing my teeth more. Do you have any other examples?
Okay, so next we have river biofilms, which is basically autotrophic and heterotrophic biological communities embedded in the soil of the river. So they are made out of algae fungi, bacteria, and viruses, which are known as pyrophyton. The biofilm's composition actually varied depending on the environmental conditions of the river. So fun fact, it is actually an excellent indicator of environmental exposure.
Wow, that's fascinating. Can you tell me more?
Okay, so moving on, we have biofilms in the food industry. This is a major challenge for the industry because it increases the chances of food cross-contamination. So these microorganisms are caused by food contact. For example, Pseudomonas, which is caused by food spoilage and prefers low acidic environments, and the most popular one is Salmonella. This microorganism derives from the surfaces of contaminated equipment, and if not careful, it will lead to consumers to be ingesting it and then causing foodborne illnesses.
Wow, that's a lot of information. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem. So now I'll be finding another person to ask more on microbial biofilms.
Hi, are you free?
Hi, yes, I am.
What is your name?
Shana.
Have you heard of microbial biofilms?
Yeah, yes, I've heard of microbial.
Could you explain to us on how microbiofilms are cultivated in laboratories or how they grow naturally?
Yeah, sure. In laboratories, researchers can cultivate microbial biofilms by providing suitable surfaces for the microorganisms to attach to. Processes like inoculation and incubation are very important steps. Here's how.
Inoculate the selected microorganisms into the growth medium. This can be done by transferring a small amount of the microbial culture into the medium using sterile techniques. The inoculum can consist of a single species or a mixture of different microorganisms depending on the objective of the studies. Place the inoculated medium in an appropriate incubator set to the desired temperature and conditions for the microorganisms to grow. This could be at room temperature or a specific temperature suitable for the organisms being studied. Incubation allows the microorganisms to attach to the surface and initiate the formation of a biofilm. After that, letting it grow may take hours to days, depending on the microorganisms and experimental conditions. Take note that we have to maintain at the appropriate environmental conditions such as temperature, humidity, and nutrient availability to support biofilm growth. Lastly, we have to regularly replenish the growth medium to provide nutrients for the growing biofilm. This may involve removing a portion of the old medium and replacing it with fresh medium. The frequency of medium replenishment will depend on the specific requirements of the organisms being studied. For growing it naturally, I have actually done an experiment on it where I used glass as my substrate. First, I sterilized it thoroughly with a mild detergent and rinsed it with sterile water. Then I used soil as my microbial cultures. Swab or immerse the substrate in the microbial culture or gently rub it on the surface to transfer the microbes. Microbial films require a moist environment for growth. Therefore, I had to spray the substrate with sterile water to maintain moisture levels. Then I gave it some time to grow and observed its growth. Initially, I saw a thin transparent layer develop, which will gradually become more pronounced and visible. Most importantly, we must be aware of hygiene to prevent contamination.
Great insights, Mushana. Hi, Shenling. So, how did your interview went? It went well. I asked about how microbial biofilms are cultivated in laboratories or how they grow naturally. What about you? Oh, I see. For me, I asked about the examples on the naturally occurring microbial biofilms. But enough of that. Let's find out the applications on microbial biofilms. Okay, let's go. Hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
Hi, my name is Clarence.
Are you free?
Yes, I am.
Can I ask you a few questions on microbial biofilms?
Sure.
Can you shed light on the applications on microbial biofilms?
Oh, you're in luck. I am doing my final year project on microbial biofilm and its application. So, microbial biofilms have numerous applications across different fields. For example, in wastewater treatment plants, biofilms are utilized to break down organic materials and remove pollutants, making the water safer for our community. As wastewater contains a high level of waste materials such as nitrogen and phosphorus, which must be thoroughly removed to prevent eutrophication, which can wreak havoc on our environment. In wastewater treatment plants, microbes are allowed to adhere and grow on a support medium, for example, a plastic film media or a stone. And this media can then be placed into septic tanks. And as the water flows through the microbial biofilm, they take up the waste from the water. And this is an example of an attached growth system. Nitrifying bacteria and phosphorus removing bacteria are the most important components in this application. Examples of nitrifying bacteria such as Nitrosomonas species and Nitrobacter species. On top of that, microbial biofilms can also be used in bioremediation effort to clean up contaminated sites. Some microorganisms, they can break down toxic waste and neutralize it. For example, microalgae is known to remove heavy toxins and micropollutants. One example of microalgae used in these applications is Calodomonas reinhardtii. On top of that, the white rot fungus Phaenorrhoea chrysoporium can also break down toxic waste such as trichloropheno, polychlorinated biphenyls, dioxins, and other halogenated aromatic compounds. Isn't it amazing? as it contains an enzyme, a very potent enzyme called lignin peroxidase, to break down these toxic compounds.
Wow, that's impressive, Clarence.
Sure, I hope I've enlightened you guys with my research.
Certainly did. When we talk about microbial biofilms, there are advantages and disadvantages of it. So Chen Han, can you please tell me more about the advantages?
Well, one advantages is that microbial biofilm have enhanced resistance to antibiotic and other disinfection disinfectant compared to the free-floating microorganism. This can be advantage to for a certain application, such as bioremediation efforts where the biofilm can withstand harsh condition. Furthermore, microbial biofilm can also facilitate the passage of genetic material across bacteria, allowing for rapid adaptation and the inclusion of new features. The transmission of antibiotic-resistant genes within biofilm accentuates this process, leading to the formation of multi-drug resistant bacteria species.
Absolutely, Chen Han. Mukshana, can you share us an example on the disadvantage of microbial biofilms?
Certainly, one disadvantage of microbial biofilms is their potential to cause infections. For instance, biofilms can form on medical implants, increasing the risk of biofilm-related infections. Managing and preventing biofilm-related infections pose challenges to healthcare.
Thank you, Mukshana. This provides us with a balanced perspective. We appreciate all of you for your insights. Indeed, the role of microbial biofilms are both intriguing and complex, allowing us to have a better understanding on the microorganisms surrounding us.
Hi there, my name is Mukshana from Group 23, and I'll be giving you some additional information on the advantages of microbial biofilms in relation of our topic via this short presentation. This presentation is divided into two parts, which are industrial and medical applications, where I'll be explaining further about in the next few slides. In terms of industrial applications, microbial biofilms are widely utilized in many processes like wastewater treatment, biocorrosion control, and biofuel production. This makes the biofilms invaluable in these applications as they have the ability to form strong and self-sufficient colonies. In the wastewater treatment, microbial biofilms play a very crucial role. This is because they can effectively extract nutrients and break down organic materials, as they can foster a diverse range of microbes that degrade contaminants effectively. This leads to a more efficient and long-lasting treatment. Besides, microbial biofilms offer significant advantages in controlling corrosion in metals. By forming protective layers on metal surfaces, biofilms can act as a natural barrier preventing corrosion and degradation. This extends the lifespan of metal structures and reduces maintenance costs. Lastly, in biofuel production, biofilms can efficiently convert organic matter into biofuels through various processes like anaerobic digestion and fermentation. This is a much more sustainable option in biofuel production compared to traditional fuel sources. Apart from industrial applications, microbial biofilms have advantages in medical references as well. The dental plaque would be a good example for this. It is a type of biofilm that protects microorganisms in the oral environment from host defenses and antimicrobial agents. The dental plaque acts as a barrier, enabling microorganisms to survive and thrive in the oral environment. This protective function of biofilms contributes to oral health issues such as dental caries and gum diseases. In conclusion, microbial biofilms offer a plethora of advantages in various fields. By understanding and harnessing the advantages of microbial biofilms, we can drive advancements in the environmental sustainability, industrial processes, and healthcare practices. As research continues to unravel the complexities of microbial biofilms, we can expect even more innovative applications and benefits in the future.
Biofilms are associated with nosocomial infections. They are present in medical devices, shower curtains, rocks in rivers, streams, and noses. The CDC has estimated that biofilm causes 65% of nosocomial infections. The medical devices implanted in the body will be affected by biofilm formation. These implanted devices can be catheters, artificial joints, and mechanical heart valves. When colonization of microorganisms occur, it will still be slow, but persistent infection can occur. Dental plaque is an example of a biofilm that forms on tooth surfaces, which is the product of metabolism by those bacteria in plaques, and they are responsible for tooth decay and gum disease, while creating some infections. Biofilms have also caused several problems in the industry. It causes fouling of the equipment, contaminates the products, and damages the water distribution system. It can cause contamination of the field and sourcing of the chemicals due to excretion of hydrogen sulfide by the biofilm bacteria. In the medical industry, biofilm refer to these pathogens as glycocalyx because it presents some risk of release of pathogens from the cooling towers and therefore reducing the water quality that we drink.